So starting off my session with Nodin this morning, you can see it's a little bit cooler, so I was just working on, he wanted to trot around, so I figured I'd let him kind of move a little bit more and work a little bit on our draw. So I'm going to see if he wants to let me come in at all. Just working on keeping that kind of hook up. But he was definitely kind of feeling the little brisk weather for sure. And I'm also trying to see if he'll take a cookie, but he doesn't, and he kind of prefers the face rub, so that's kind of what we deal with at that moment. And then he calmed down and was like, "Oh yeah, you are a friend." And so sometimes I find it good if they feel like they need to move around for a second, they can, but doing that little bit, just that little bit of work there can help them just come and draw in a little bit better. So again, trying to work on getting him to take some alfalfa cubes. And also when working on trying to get a little bit of that draw, always going to kind of go in a circle or in some diagonal lines so you can kind of catch the eye a little bit. And then coming in for a rub. And also throwing any chance I can when I see a rock, I throw it out of his pen. So I'll add a little bit of pressure just by smacking my thigh a little bit. And then seeing if I can get him to yield the haunches some. That's pretty good. And I'm just trying to see if I can get him to take a couple of steps forward towards me, which that was a little bit better. And then I'm going to just wait for a second. And now we're starting to get the steps to me, which is kind of what I was looking for. And now he's starting to follow pretty good. And he started to get in a much better place. His head was more level. Sometimes he can start off, his head's really high and he's a bit blowy. So I'm just going to go through our touches, the things that he knows. Then I'm going to go to the other side and just do a little bit of a touch with the rope. And then I decided that would do a little bit of a grooming session with him. Letting him kind of sniff the brush first. And kind of putting it in that space of the eye first. You see, sometimes he's still a little bit unsure, so just working on letting him know that it's all right. This is a very, very soft brush as well. I don't like to use kind of the hard brushes on them in the beginning because they can be too sensitive for that. So finally getting him to take some alfalfa cubes. Trying to create those positive associations. And of course going to the face rub, which he really seems to like. And then I sped this up for you guys. So I'm just sitting here, brushing him, letting the rope go on him. kind of moved to the outside of the camera angle there, so I'm going to reposition. Always letting him kind of see the brush if you got a little worried there, so I'm going to take a little bit more time, and that time that was a lot better. And I just think it's really important in the beginning, if kind of feeling them out and spending that time in the grooming in the beginning, I think really helps. And again, sometimes if it's a little brisk or colder, they need to move their feet around a little bit. That's okay. He's still a little bit worried about the tickly brush touching his hind end. So I'm just going to tell him it's all okay. And again, working on the other side. And again, this is a super, super soft brush. It's a face brush, so they can get a little bit more used to that feel before I go to using a little bit stiffer brush. Again, trying with another alfalfa cue, but he's kind of off in the distance a little bit. And I'm just waiting for him right here. And then just playing around with his face, brushing his face with the brush. He really likes to have his little nose touched because he's very curious about that stuff, but still a little guarded about his body. So that's the work in progress that we have to do. Again, he's not 100% sure about it, but he goes, okay, it's not hurting me, it's not so bad. And then I'm just going to wait. Got a good response from him there. Now I'm going to go work on the front feet. And he's feeling pretty nice and relaxed about his front feet. I'm able to use the farrier stance. And again, he feels pretty good. He's not worried if my elbow is touching his elbow. Sometimes that can be a sensitive spot. And is not feeling too worried when I set the foot down. So that's all really good. So now going to the other side, I just showed him the hoof pick for a second. And he's getting pretty good about picking up the foot. And again, sometimes it can be a juggle with holding the foot and holding the rope, making sure you don't pull them around by accident if your rope is too short. And again, he's not too worried about the front feet. Again, feeling pretty relaxed, and I'm using the hoof prick, trying to make some sounds with the bristle end of the brush. And he's handling that all okay. That was a very good boy. He still likes to kind of wiggle around afterwards, but that will eventually go away. So giving him some nice face rubs here. Gonna make sure I have a decent length of rope. And then working on picking up our back feet. And it's getting to where I can get a little bit closer. He's still just worried. So it can be a little bit different for them, especially sometimes for us. We're trying to protect ourselves as well. So if you pull it a little bit to the side, it can make them a little bit uncomfortable. So I just thought, we're going to leave that for the day today. He is really good about his front feet, so I'm going to just trim up the angles on him. It's finally warmed up a little bit, so I was able to take my vest off. But you can see how good he is about the front feet. So I know the back feet will come because he's handling this really, really well. And again, just working on a little bit of the angles and just taking off a little bit of toe because he had grown a fair amount of foot. And then over to the other side. Sometimes it can be tricky, when you're doing them by themselves, but again, he was pretty darn good. So I was really, really happy with that. And I think we made some good progress today. I was just, again, happy I was able to help his angles a little bit, and he was a good boy.